Welcome to today's lesson in which we are going to be talking about fast speech in the United States. So one question that I often get from learners, or a comment rather, is, well, I easily understand what you're saying, and when I listen to your lessons, it's easy to follow. But when I travel to the US, or maybe if you live in the US and you're just outside listening to casual conversation, it's a lot more difficult to follow and understand that people are talking so fast. So that's why today I want to talk about fast speech and take some just simple sentences and really analyze them and talk about what's going on so that you have a better understanding of why people sound the way they do, and especially if you feel like they're speaking really fast. So there are two different parts to this. I want you to practice with me when we go through these sentences. I want you to say them out loud. This is, after all, interactive English. I want you to participate, but I want you to keep in mind that I think this is really useful for your listening comprehension. Because when we go through these sentences and talk about some of the things, such as connected speech, it's related to pronunciation, but it's also about related to accent reduction. And I want to say at the very beginning that you should never feel like you need to reduce your accent or speak with any sort of accent. I know that people have different goals when it comes to their speaking fluency, so I just want you to keep that in mind. Never feel like you need to speak with any specific accent, but I do believe that understanding some of these different concepts will help you improve your listening comprehension, because you'll be able to pick this out and you'll be able to hear it as we go through. So my name is Wes. Let me introduce myself. The channel is Interactive English. It's all about trying to help you reach your fluency goals. If that's what you like to do, please subscribe, turn on notifications. That way I can become your teacher. So let's jump right into it, and we'll start out with the dialogue. So this is the dialogue that we're going to look at and practice today, and we'll come back to this at the very end. So for right now, you can just listen to me say the dialogue. You have it there written right in front of you, and then we're going to go through each one and talk about what's going on and practice them individually. And then you and we are going to practice them at the very end as well. So we start out with this question, and I'm just going to read both, or say both, A and B. What did you do last night? Did you go to the movie? Yes, I got a ticket and then called in sick to work. I'm going to go this weekend if you want to see it again. Let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. So just listening to me say these sentences, you can see the words written right there. I imagine it's probably a lot easier to follow along, and you can pick out the words and phrases that you just heard. But let's really take a deep dive into these sentences, and we're going to practice. So let's start at the very beginning. You can see all the images that I'm showing you are one way or another pictures from the United States. That's where I'm from. So again, this lesson is definitely closely related to the American accent. So what did you do last night? Did you go to the movie? All right, the first two questions. We'll break it down one at a time. Let's start with that first phrase. What did you? You hear me pronounce those three words individually. Often you're not going to hear people say them like that clearly. They're going to say, what did you? So a couple of things happening. So that first T, that final T in what, in the beginning D and did, T and D, the position of the tongue in your mouth, it's really the same. It's the tip of your tongue is up behind your top front teeth. So you really have overlapping sounds. So you're not going to hear both of them. You're really just going to hear one. And I'll come back to that in just a moment. The final D in did and the beginning y sound in you, those sounds may blend together, and that is called assimilation. The sounds blend together to create a new sound. In this case, it's a slight j sound. And one way to think about it is that we're taking that j sound and we're putting it between the two words which then allows us to connect them. So instead of what did you, what did you? What did you? You can hear that slight j. It's not really something that you have to force, but I think as you say it, if you're just saying this quickly, it's going to come out naturally. What did you? What did you? And this is common with this question, this construction, the first three words. And you can really replace what with any of those question words if you're following it with did you. So what did you? Why did you? How did you? When did you? And you can hear that slight j sound. So the first part is I put it up there and I've given you the phonetic spelling, that what did you. Now that first part, that okay, I told you that T and D are going to overlap. So there are different ways to think about it. It's almost like that you could say that, well, the T elides, which we'll talk about elision. That sound goes away. We're left with the D. Now, even if we were to say, well, the D elides and we're left with the T, it comes between two vowel sounds. So with the American accent, I'm still going to pronounce it as a flap T, which I will talk about a little later as well. So just keep in mind that the sounds that what did you, it's going to sound like what did you, what did you, what did you. Now, the rest of that question, do last night, this is pretty simple and straightforward. I just mentioned elision. So elision is another part of connected speech. This is when sounds may get removed. And it occurs on several different occasions. One time is with the T or D. And the T or D may get removed, it may get dropped when they come between two consonant sounds. So last night. Again, you're not gonna hear a aspirated t sound in last. It comes between those two consonant sounds, so it gets dropped, it elides, and it's just going to sound like last night. Last night. You're not really going to hear that T. And whether you're talking about the phrase last night, last week, last year, again, it's going to elide with any of those phrases. I appreciate the hearts. Thank you. So here's the first question. Again, what did you do last night? Say it with me. What did you do last night? One more time. What did you do last night? The second part of the question, did you? Once again, we have that final D in did and the beginning Y, sound in you. They blend together and you get that j. Did you? Did you? Then the rest of that question, go to the movie. One thing that I want to point out, and this is really common, I think, with the American accent. In the United States, people will take certain words and they're kind of reduced. And that vowel sound is changed. And this often happens with function words. For example, to. So instead of to, like I'm saying it right now, like the number, if I'm just saying it quickly, it's not a word that gets emphasized or stressed. That vowel sound may get reduced to sound more like the schwa, t. Go to the. It's also a weak the, which again, the is, you hear that schwa sound because the next word begins with a consonant sound, the movie. Go to the movie. The other thing I want to point out before we practice this question is you can see I put flap T there. So in the United States, people love the flap T. It occurs when that T comes between two vowel sounds. So even though go, it's a separate word, but it still ends with a vowel sound, and then that T comes between the two vowel sounds. So it's going to sound more like a soft D. So that whole phrase, go to the, go to the, go to the. When I say it with my accent, go to the, and hopefully you can hear that soft D. Go to the movie. Go to the movie. Say it with me, just that last phrase. Go to the movie. And then if we combine it with that did you go to the movie? Did you go to the movie? And the other thing I want to say about this question, did you go to the movie? It's a yes-no question. A lot of times with these yes-no questions, you'll have a rising intonation at the end. Did you go to the movie? Did you go to the movie? Say it with me. Did you go to the movie? Now let's practice all of this together right here. And I just want you to repeat after me. See if you can use these same things that we just talked about: assimilation, elision, the flap T. What did you do last night? Did you go to the movie? Say it one more time. What did you do last night? Did you go to the movie? Okay, good. All right, keep that in mind. We're going to come back to these questions, all right? If you are practicing and you're saying this out loud, let me know. I want to know in the comments. Just write the word speaking. That way I know that you're participating and you are actually practicing your speaking skills, which is what this lesson is all about. And, well, speaking of speaking skills, one thing I wanted to let you know and mention is that I am getting ready to start another speaking course. The course is for intermediate to advanced speakers. It's all about helping you speak confidently, speak clearly, speak naturally. We warm up with something related to pronunciation, connected speech, similar to the things that we're talking about in this lesson. So click on the link down in the description. I've also pinned a comment there in the chat. You can use the code SPEAK20 to get $20 off. But if you click on that link, you can find out more information about the course as well as the available class times. So check that out if you would like to practice and improve your speaking. Okay, let's look at the next part. All right, great job. Excellent. Kayo, you're speaking nice. Lali, I understand. Yeah, this can be definitely a bit challenging and difficult because I know that when many of you learn English, you start learning the language and you're learning the individual words. And I know some people tell me that they try to pronounce the individual words because they just want to make sure that somebody understands what they're saying, and that's perfectly fair. That's okay. Like I said, this is not something you should feel like you have to do. I do think it will help you improve your listening comprehension because if you're watching a movie or TV show, this is, you're going to hear people speak like this, and it's good to be able to identify it. So the answer to the questions, yes, I got a ticket and then called in sick to work. Yes, I got a ticket and then called in sick to work. A few things going on here. So the first thing that I want to mention is linking. This is extremely common in spoken English, not just in the United States, but really across all English varieties in the UK, in Australia, Canada, South Africa. It happens all the time. And what linking is, it's when one word ends with a final consonant sound. It may get linked with the beginning vowel sound of the next word. So got a. In this case, the final consonant sound, got, we can then link that with the vowel sound, which in this case, that article is just pronounced with the schwa, gotta, gotta. Once again, that T comes between two vowel sounds, so you'll hear me say this with a flap T, gotta, gotta. It really sounds the same as the reduction got to would also sound like gotta, or in this case, got with the article, gotta. Yes, I got a ticket, and I mentioned before how certain words are commonly reduced. This is one of them. Often, and is going to get reduced and sounds will get removed, and it's really just going to sound like N. So that first part, yes, I got a ticket, and then, yes, I got a ticket, and then called in. We can link that phrase, once again, that final D in called, because that ED has a D sound, because that final O, that L sound is voiced, and we can link that D with the vowel sound in. A lot of times linking occurs with those prepositions. Many prepositions begin with a vowel sound, in, on, at, over. If the word before it ends with a consonant sound, well, that may tell you, okay, linking may occur. Called in sick to work. So instead of to work, which if you say to work, it's perfectly fine, but it's just easier. And I do think, again, helps give the language that rhythm and flow. It just sounds natural. When instead of to, it's going to sound more like ta. Don't think of this as either one or the other. Think of it more like a spectrum, and that you may hear more of the to or kind of sliding towards that to work, to work. Called in sick to work. Called in sick to work. If you're unfamiliar with that phrase, to call in sick, it refers to, well, somebody who cannot come to work and they just call their office, their employer, and say, look, I'm sick, I'm not coming in today. So in this situation, the person asked about, well, did you go to the movie? And they said, yes, they got a ticket, they got their movie ticket, and well, they couldn't work. So instead of going to work, they called in sick, and then they went to the movie. Yes, I got a ticket and then called in sick to work. So let's practice this right here. I'll say it slowly. I want you to repeat, and then I'll say it a little faster. So first time slowly, and you repeat. Yes, I got a ticket and then called in sick to work. All right, let's say it. Let's speed it up a little. Yes, I got a ticket and then called in sick to work. One more time. Yes, I got a ticket and then called in sick to work. Good. All right. Again, let me know if you're practicing, write speaking down in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this later. The next one, the other person responds, instead of, again, pronouncing the individual words, I'm going to go this weekend if you want to see it again. I would say, I'm going to go this weekend if you want to see it again. I'm going to go this weekend if you want to see it again. Let's have a look at what's going on. So I'm going to. There are two different ways that we can reduce this phrase. Again, reductions, sounds are getting removed, very common. So going to may get reduced to gonna, something that I'm sure you've heard. I imagine many of you may be using this already. I'm gonna, she's gonna, he's gonna, we're gonna, they're gonna, you're gonna. But if we're starting out the sentence with I am, and we'll contract that to I'm, we can reduce it even further, and it may sound like I'm gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna. So I'm gonna, or if you want to say it even a little faster, I'm gonna. And typically what I notice, especially when I teach these classes and talk about this, I know some people don't feel as comfortable saying I'm gonna, which I completely understand. But I notice how often I end up saying it when I say, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. All right, right now I'm gonna do this. And I just start catching myself saying it quite often. So I'm gonna go this weekend if you, instead of want to, another very common reduction, wanna, I'm going to go this weekend if you want to see it again. It again. We can link that final consonant sound with that beginning vowel sound in again. Starts with that schwa sound. But that T comes between the two vowel sounds. So I'm going to pronounce it as a flap T. It again. It again. Just say that phrase with me. It again. If you want to see it again. One more time. If you want to see it again. Now let's practice the entire sentence. And this first time, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna. And I want you to repeat after me. I'm gonna go this weekend if you want to see it again. I'm gonna go this weekend if you want to see it again. Now, what I'd like you to do, try that I'm gonna. Just see how it feels. Again, if it doesn't feel comfortable, it's not something that you have to do, but definitely listen for it. So again, just repeat after me. I'm gonna go this weekend if you want to see it again. One more time. I'm gonna go this weekend if you want to see it again. Okay, good. And then we're gonna wrap things up with this conversation right here. And you can see this beautiful picture. If anybody can tell me the name of that park, bonus points for you. I'll tell you in just a moment. Instead of the individual words, let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. When I say it like that, to me, I feel like I sound a little bit like a robot. But if I were just to say this naturally, yeah, let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. Let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. Let's have a look what's going on. In case you're wondering, this is a picture of the Great Smoky Mountains, the Smoky Mountains National Park. Beautiful, beautiful park in the, well, it's really the southeast. So the first thing that I want to talk about, we've talked about different parts of connected speech. I think most of the time what happens is linking. Linking is something that happens a lot. We've talked about assimilation. The sounds blend together. You get a new sound like what did you? What did you? Elision is another part of connected speech. We drop some sounds. And the opposite of elision would be intrusion. In this case, we're adding sounds. And what we're going to add is a slight W, a slight W sound between these two vowels, which then allows us to link them together. So instead of do it, you can add that slight W sound. Do it, do it. And I think people, hopefully you can really grasp this example because like the Nike, the slogan, just do it, just do it. You hear that a lot and you can hear that slight W sound in between there. We're going to add that in between. That is intrusion. Do it, do it. Add it, put it up there. And then the rest of that, the next sentence, we have linking and a reduction. I'm up. We can link that. For is another word we can reduce. That vowel sound is going to slightly change. So instead of for, it's going to sound a little more like fur. It's a function word. It's not a word that's stressed. So when I say it often, it's going to sound like fur. I'm up for. I'm up for. I've added this down here. If you're unfamiliar with this phrase, if you say you're up for something, it means that you're just willing to do something. So in this case, I'm up for watching it again. This person is, they're willing to see the movie again. So I'm up for, and then watching, sometimes, not always, that G will get dropped. I think most of the time this happens with verbs in the continuous tense. You drop that G. And the reason this occurs is because when the next word begins with a vowel sound, it's easier to link that final n sound instead of the ing. You can still link the ing if you want to, but it's just a little easier. So people will drop that G, and then we can link that n sound with the beginning vowel sound of the next word, which in this case is it. The other thing I'd point out, I said it mostly occurs with verbs in the continuous tense. In this case, it's a gerund, which again, it may still happen. So we're going to drop that G, and then we're going to link that final phrase, watching it again. And that T in it comes between two vowel sounds, so you're going to hear me say it as a flat T. So check out this, again, this part that I've written, giving you the phonetic spelling so you can actually see how I'm pronouncing it. Let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. And you can hear me as I say that, watching it again. It's almost like I'm taking that consonant sound, moving it over to the next word. Watching it again. Watching it again. Let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. I want you to repeat after me. We'll do this slowly and then faster. So slowly, let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. And then we speed it up. Let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. And then if I want to speed it up a little more, let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. So now that we've gone through these, I think rather simple sentences, this conversation, this dialogue is easy to understand, it's easy to follow, but once again, it's all about helping you have a better understanding of why people sound the way they do. And I would encourage you to listen for some of this stuff, like that first part, the first thing that we talked about, the assimilation. What did you? Listen for that slight just sound. What did you? How did you? When did you? Why did you? Where did you? It's pretty common, and trust me, you will hear it. So I'll say the dialogue again out loud, so you can just listen to it one more time. And then I want you to practice with me. I'll say one, you say the other, and then we'll switch. So I'll just say all of it right now, so you can once again hear the way that I'm saying it with all of those. I know we talked about a lot. It's a lot to keep in mind, but really just think about, well, again, just listening to the way I'm saying it and trying to emulate those sounds. So I'll say the whole thing right now. What did you do last night? Did you go to the movie? Yes, I got a ticket and then called in sick to work. I'm going to go this weekend if you want to see it again. Let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. Okay, I want you to say it just like that, if you can. So let's start out. I will say A, and I want you to say B. I want you to say this out loud. Doesn't matter where you are, if you're at home or you're on the bus. So let's just practice your speaking skills right now. I'll say A, you say B, and then we'll switch. Are you ready? What did you do last night? Did you go to the movie? I'm going to go this weekend if you want to see it again. Excellent. All right, so let's switch. This time I want you to say A. I will say B. Ready? You can begin. Yes, I got a ticket and then called in sick to work. Let's do it. I'm up for watching it again. Great job. If you were participating and practicing and I wasn't speaking to myself, let me know. Write the word speaking in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this later. This is a lesson that's all about not only helping you improve your listening comprehension, but it depends on what some of your goals are when it comes to speaking fluency. If you want to start using some of these different elements, you want to start using reductions like gonna, wanna, have to, gotta. They're very common in spoken English. Or if you want to take it a step further and use some of the assimilation, I said a great starting point would be with those questions. What did you? Why did you? How did you? When did you? And some of those other things like linking, I think it just takes time, but the more you keep doing this, the more you practice, just like we did today, I think you're going to feel a little more comfortable and you start using it in just casual conversation. Well, a lot of people practicing. Nice. Zach, Julia, Ulysses, Sammy. Excellent. Love hearing that. Lolly, ouch. Right. Good little practice. But again, overall, I think this is great for your listening comprehension. And once again, just to give one last mention about my speaking course, if you would like to join, check out that link down in the description. You can find out more about the available class times and use that code SPEAK20 to get $20 off. Nice work. All right, Alexander, Talal. Hopefully you enjoyed the lesson and you learned something new. This is really going deep into some of those different parts of connected speech: assimilation, linking, elision, intrusion. But hopefully you have a better understanding, again, of why people speak the way they do, a better understanding of the American accent. For example, those flap T's, you saw many of them. People in the US, we love the flap T. I really appreciate you joining me today. Great job. Thank you. Edvaldo, Fernando, Takayo, good to see you. I look forward to seeing you next month, Takayo. Good seeing Lolly. I really appreciate all of you being here with me today, practicing your speaking skills. And if you enjoy lessons like this, just let me know. Hit that like button. That tells me, okay, all right, people are getting use out of these speaking lessons. They enjoy practicing their speaking skills, having a little bit of a dialogue with me, and we can continue to do this in the future. Thank you, Ramela, Modasir, Sammy. I could keep going, but I want to wrap things up there. Have a wonderful day, and I